Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If this is something you end up enjoying, you never know, it could happen. Anyway, this is my kind of yearly, I like to do this every year, my yearly TBR, MBR, I should really call it. Might be read instead of to be read, but might be read because I am such a mood reader. And I apologize for that. It's one of the things that's been a very freeing thing for me, along with allowing myself to DNF a book or do not finish a book. Those two things just makes my reading that much better and helps me so that I really rarely have one of those like reading block, those times just nothing's working for you. I really rarely have that, and I think it is because I allow myself these freedoms. I've learned over the years I've just got to go with it or else I'll have a rough time. I did want to talk about my TBR for 2024. I tried to, it's so hard because I inevitably want to add all of the books to my yearly schedule, and it's the beginning of the year, and I go, well, why can't I just add all of them? I've got a whole year. But it turns out, again, I am a mood reader, and so I'm trying to be careful with that. And what happened was last year I didn't quite make my goals or really get very closely. And I'm going to have a year in review video and go over that a little bit, just how much I failed. But at the same time, I'm learning here, and this has been, even though I've been on YouTube and booktube specifically for a couple years now, I have to learn some things about myself, and the biggest one is that anybody read, anyone suggests, I'm usually on board with. So if I plan that in, then a lot of other things get tossed to the side that I had planned on reading. So without further ado, there's been so much ado, I know. Let's get into what am I reading next year. I do find that I have to get so there's some more ado, I guess. I have to get somewhat on my schedule, or else some of these series will just never get read because I will find the newest and shiniest thing that will come by, because there's always some good book coming out. And don't let me get into the statistics because it's very depressing about just all the books that are coming out, let alone all the books that you want to read, and trying to fit them into a lifetime of attempting to read anywhere from 50 to 60 books a year. It's just, I mean, even reading 300 books a year is probably not possible to keep up on all of the great books that are out. So anyway, it's a struggle. It's a constant struggle. So feel me here. Looking into the new year, I do have about 23 to 25 books I'm looking at that I want to try to get in. And so that's about half of my reading for next year. Hoping to leave lots of space here, and some of these are already for buddy reads that I've already committed to. Some of these are potential buddy reads. So anyway, we're getting there. So first things first, there's a potential buddy read with some people. I don't know what's been announced yet, so I have to kind of keep mum until I can do that, but I think there's a buddy read here with some great people. And so anyway, so this is going to be the Age of Madness trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. I've been meaning to fit this in anyway. I've read almost everything else by Joe Abercrombie. I was kind of saving this, and this is probably for this year anyway, let's be honest, because it's, you start to just really want to read one of your favorite authors again, and when they have new stuff, why not? I know I can hold off because I've learned if I jump in, then I'm in just one more series and I start overwhelming myself. There's all kinds of issues that I'm talking about here, but this is my therapy too, But anyway, so A Little Hatred, Trouble with Peace, and The Wisdom of Crowds. That'll be happening probably earlier in the year than later. So look forward to that. Speaking of buddy reads, this probably it's just looking like it's going to get pushed maybe into the beginning of the year for me. I might get started by the end of the year, but we'll see. But like I said, I got to be realistic about these things. Speaking of Joe Abercrombie, but Scott Lynch's Republic of Thieves, I just absolutely love Liza Block Lamora, first book. Red Seas Under Red Skies, the second book, and then Republic of Thieves, can't wait to read. Looks like Murphy Napier is going to be doing another group discussion, and so I'm all about that. I've had so much fun and learned so much more about these books and so much more about my understanding when I'm reading through a book. It really does help me get some perspective, and I really appreciate that. So it's really been fun to do this and read this with a group of people, take my notes. It really, part of it too is it helps me take my notes and make sure that I'm taking notes and paying attention here. So absolutely, I'm just loving Scott Lynch's writing and everything, so I'm excited to get into that one. All right, we're still on the buddy read section of the TBR. So this is definitely planned already. We've been reading The Lord of the Rings, and so these are going to be this is going to be books 2 and 3, so the Two Towers and the Return of the King. These are already scheduled. Two Towers to happen in January, and then Return of the King to happen in February. So those are definitely already on the schedule, already going to happen. Loving, absolutely loving Fellowship of the Ring. It's so hard not to just get ahead because it's, I mean, there's a reason this is one of my top favorite fantasy series of all time. That's gotten me into reading so much more fantasy because it's just you're part of this world. He just brings you in and you become part of it. You live it and you breathe it, and it's just incredible. So anyway, I love this trilogy, and I'm so excited to read the rest of it. All right, this is me still being realistic about my plans. I know I'd mentioned this as a TBR item for the month of December. I've been plagued not only with too much work, which then causes a lot of stress, and then I'm open for pretty much any small amount of sickness that's going around or illness that's going around, and then I'm sick again, and you might even kind of hear it in my voice right now. It's not going well. So anyway, it's really hampered my reading, to say the least. I'm still plugging away, but this is one that I have to read soon. I'm dying to read it, to be honest, and I can't believe I keep putting it off. And mostly it's because of all these buddy reads and whatnot, which again, you know, if someone's depending on me, you know, it makes it a lot easier for me to be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get there. I'm going to make this goal. And then when it's not happening, then I struggle more. So anyway, this is going to be A Sail by Ian Cameron Esselmont. It's the final book in the Malazan Empire series. So that's Esselmont's big main Malazan series. So I'm very excited for that. Very excited to finish that one off and then jump into all the rest of his books, because he's got another series coming out, The Path to Ascendancy, which has been ongoing for the last couple years, coming out. And so I'm just far behind is all that's happening. And I'm excited to get into the Carcanis, the prequels, the God Is Not Willing. So I need to open this back up, maybe have Malazan Year here coming up. And instead of rereading the Malazan series, which again, I'll get into, that was part of my TBR for this last year. And as Malazan reads go, or group reads go, this one fell apart. And they just typically go that way. All right, then another buddy read. This is, I think, going to be the last one, but I definitely plan on reading it regardless. It's going to be the last Witcher book by Andrzej Sapkowski. And so this is with J.R. Carroll, J.C.M. Byrne. I believe it's Lady of the Lake. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Season of Storms or something like that? I'm trying to figure out. Very much excited to finish up The Witcher and then get prepared, because we're supposed to have more Witcher either end of 2024 or beginning of 2025. And it's been some time, so I'm excited to see what more that we have in store for us. Then speaking of Mr. J.R. Carroll, I wanted to read his other book that I just been slacking on, so I apologize to him. But More Than a Vampire, I already read More Than a Gunslinger, and it was great. It's lots of fun, kind of historical figures, but like applied to like monsters, and anyway, kind of in a historical time period. It's lots of fun. Cool to meet, you know, kind of, I like this kind of like different explanations for how these people got famous and whatnot. So anyway, with a cool story to kind of back it up too, so it's really fun. Speaking of J.C.M. Byrne, I am also planning to put on this TBR, so this is what I'm putting on the TBR, Return of the Griffin. Want to keep going in the Hybrid Helix series. I absolutely loved Wistful Ascending. Absolutely, such a cool like superheroes in space, essentially Marvel superheroes in space, which I know we have already, but it's definitely with a lot of heart, with great writing, which you might not be able to say for every single MCU movie, let's be honest. So I'm excited to get back into that one. All right, I'm not joking this time. I know this has been on my list. It was on my last list, but I really want to finish it this time. It's going to be The Sacred Band by David Anthony Durham. It's the last book in the Acacia series. This has been on my list for too long. I read the first 2 books ages ago, you know, and this might be the argument for why you shouldn't have the story so far at the beginning of the book, because then I put it off and said, oh, well, I'll get the things that I need. And then now it's been too long and I really do need to reread the whole series. At the same time, I am going to enjoy that very much because I love the first two. And these are just cool. These books feel so good in the hand. Like, I cannot wait to read it. There's some books, you ever just get those right books that just feel great and you're like, I'm going to enjoy every single page. Just flipping through alone. All right, then I wanted to get in sometime here soon. I am caught up fully in this, except for I think I might be missing a couple of short stories. But anyway, Martha Wells' System Collapse. Absolutely want to read the last in the Murderbot series. I think it's the last, and you know, this has been picked up as a TV series on Apple Plus, I want to say, with Skarsgård in it. So I think that'll be kind of cool. Anyway, I absolutely loved this series. Love these books. They're great. They're hilarious. The books really don't, I mean, the covers really don't like show how hilarious this is, which I kind of like. I'm good with, they look really cool. I love the covers. And so, but then they're also just hilarious the whole time through, while being serious and telling a serious story. So there's not any lack of that either. All right, I got to one of these last year, or this last year, and then I would like to keep this one going. But this is going to be book 3 in the Dune series of 6 books, I believe. Children of Dune. I would like to get this one done this year. I did read Dune Messiah last year, and I would like to keep moving forward ever so slowly in this series. I heard this one's a good one, at least. I've heard mixed things about like every one of them. Messiah I thought was fine. But it wasn't my favorite. I might need a reread or something. But I'm excited for Children of Dune. Then this is a holdover from last year's, or this last year. I keep saying last year, of this last year's TBR. I do want to keep going and finish up this trilogy of 5. So it's going to be Douglas Adams, The Hitchhiker's Guide trilogy. So Long and Thanks for All the Fish is my next book in here. You would think, I mean, look how skinny that is. This is not hard to fit in, but way I've been going, it's all been hard. I don't know why. Speaking of series, I've been wanting to just keep going. I want to keep going and keep pushing forward. And I noticed actually Murphy Napier has been kind of slowly going through the Pratchett series. So this is me too. This is I'm going off of Weird Sisters next. Actually, already I bounced a little bit out of order to do a buddy read with like Treebeard and Bookish Chaz, I think too. But so Weird Sisters is technically the next I have up, but then I'll skip Pyramids. Already read it. Wasn't my favorite of the Discworld. It was fine. So I'm excited to get back to the Witches because they've been my favorite so far. Granny Weatherwax and all that. So I'm excited to get back to the Witches and just keep going. I'm excited to see where this series goes because what I did was I know there are certain books that are just highly rated. Everyone says are the best. I wanted to slowly get there by starting from the beginning, which people consider to be the worst books. I've enjoyed them so far, and so I feel like then I'll just enjoy them more going forward as opposed to getting disappointed by them not being at the same level of the better ones. That's the theory here, okay? All right, then I have this on audiobook, so it's going to be The Torch That Ignites the Stars by Andrew Rowe. It's the 4th book, I believe, in the Arcane Ascension series. I was going really well on the series, got sidetracked, maybe by Cradle, another kind of almost lit RPG type book. Anyway, leveling up type video game in your head book, dungeon crawler. I love that series, so I'm excited to get back into it and read more from Andrew Rowe, which I'm hoping to do this year. Stop putting these ones off because there's been moments where I've tried to insert it in for certain readathons or something like that, and it just hasn't quite worked. It's kind of larger, so I think I just need to make time and just do it at one point. Speaking of a series that I have needed to keep moving along, especially since we're going to get an ending, a book 11 of this series of one of my all-time favorites, so I need to keep moving. Peril's Gate by Janny Wirtz. Absolutely just incredible. It's some of the best writing that I've ever read. It's some of the best emotional character work that I've ever read. And this world it just keeps getting bigger and more vast. And the characters there's just so many compassionate characters. You understand the bad guy, even like the bad guy. I can't even call him that. You have a heart for him, and you see what great things he's actually doing, even though he's the one under the curse. Anyway, it's so well done. It's so well done. It's so incredible. Like I cannot believe how great this is. But it takes time, and that's I think part of my problem where I get a little intimidated. As a Malazan favorite, that's one of my favorite series 2, but I just gets a little intimidating sometimes, and so I just really need to break out and make that time to read this, because it's so good. Then I wanted to read, this is a new author to me from this last year, but Wick Welker, independent author, wanted to throw this on there. St. Elspeth has gotten some really good praise lately, has made at least one top 10 list that I saw from the Shades of Orange. And I am dying to read this. Anyway, just everything about it seems right up my alley. There also might be, this is more of just a guess on my part. He posted a teaser kind of potential cover reveal, and it looked like it might be a Dark Theory book too. So Dark Theory was one of my favorite books of last year and absolutely loved it. But the whole series is called The Dark Law, and I'm excited for a second book, and it seems like it's got to be it that he's teasing us here with, and that might be the one that I fit into instead of or with. I want to read them both, let's be honest. So I'm trying to be careful with my commitments to a TBR so I don't get overwhelmed. I have to work with myself here. All right, then I wanted to get back on this. We're supposed to be getting the 5th book in the Stormlight Archive. So I like to get back onto Oathbringer, kind of put them aside for all these buddy reads and whatnot that I was doing, and Rhythm of War, get these done, and also Dawn Shard, get these done before the 5th book comes out here. So I was plugging along at a good speed. That read along kind of fell apart too, and man, this is getting rough. I got to be careful with these read-alongs. But anyway, cannot wait. Just absolutely am loving these books. Words of Radiance, that so many just like profoundly like kick you in the gut parts, like such a good book. So many things just opened up about this world. I'm so excited to find out more, especially because I can't trust my son not to just like spoiler everything. He's like dying to, so I really need to catch up for that, if anything. All right, then I wanted to keep going. I already read The Grace of Kings, so I wanted to do The Wall of Storms, The Dandelion Dynasty #2 by Ken Liu. I absolutely love Grace of Kings, and I just keep hearing from people that Wall of Storms is like one of the best sequels of all time, and that's got me just insanely intrigued. So I'm dying to find out what that means, and especially since I was a fan of The Grace of Kings, and just to see where this goes, I'm excited, and for the whole rest of the series. But again, I'm just committing to one for now. All right, just a couple more here. We've got, I put this on my potential list of things that are going to derail my TBR. So I figured, you know what, let's just put it on the TBR. Then it can't derail it, okay? I mean, right? Let's outsmart myself here. So, Susanna Clark's Pure Nisi. Been meaning to get to this for ages. Love Susanna Clark. One of my all-time favorites. You're going to find out in my top 100 fantasy book series. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Absolutely just brilliant, humorous in just these like unexpectedly dry English ways. It's so funny, but also just so magical, so many things about it that I just love, and so I'm excited. I've only heard great things about this book. All right, then finally, I would like to continue forward, and I always like to throw kind of some graphic novels, stuff like that in, but this is going to be Dark Victory, which is the sequel to The Long Halloween. I heard it's not quite as good, but anyway, I'm excited for it. Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, excellent. Anyway, the Long Halloween was excellent, so I'm excited for more. Love me some Batman. Throw that in. I find graphic novels a great way to kind of break things up too, so that's been a good way to do that, and lots of fun. 24 books here, at least by my count. Maybe I got that wrong. That I want to commit to for this next year. I still want to finish some of the things that I've been trying to finish, but again, I'm not really committing myself fully to just fail so epically as I did this year. I gotta recognize that I'm gonna be drawn away by certain things, and just by joining with. I mean, that's part of why you come on to BookTube, is talk your favorite genre with people that also love it, and so I am a sucker for a good buddy read. So anyway, thank you for sticking by. Thanks for liking and subscribing, and we will catch you next time. Bye.